Hello, this is the Terry and Jim Show. I am the substitute for both of them today.
Sounds like our chat GPT is broken. I'm gazing into the coffee grounds at the bottom of my mug to see if I can tell where the show is going, and I'm at a loss. Where are we going in this one? To the future? Back to the future?
Well, we were talking about what to do, and please don't shut it off. It's just one of the things we were talking about. Should Trump be as bad as we say he is? And if he became president, would he ever leave? That kind of thing. So we're not going to go down all those paths. But we were wondering about the immigrant situation. And I said to Terry, I said, well, part of the solution is already in place. And that is, and a lot of you may not know it, but a lot of the prison institutions in the States are privately owned, and they're factories. I visited them. I actually made uniforms for, and they became a problem for my company because they were making their own uniforms. So what I was saying to Terry is the system is already in place to take, yes, millions of people,
round them up,
imprison them.
Yep.
They work there, never to leave, and when they die, you just burn them. And that could be a solution. Obviously, folks, I don't want that solution. But I was saying, if the rhetoric is true, only if it's true, that's what would happen. You just build more prisons. They're owned privately, and the private company makes the money, and they determine the fate of the workers.
It all hinges upon if the rhetoric is true. So do you believe what Trump is saying? Because he said all those things that you have said.
Yes, I do believe.
So he's not playing a game. It's not wordsmithing.
No.
It's not. The GOP is always on Fox News saying, he's just joking. It's just a play on words. You take him too seriously. He's a fun guy.
No, he's said it. Even that ad that he took down sent a message to his people. That the Reich, what was it, the first Reich or something?
Yes.
That sent a message.
One Reich.
That sent a message to the far right. I'm thinking of you, and I'm recruiting you. And that he took it down. Of course he did. I don't think he apologized for it. He just took it down. So it was there. He has said he wants to change the legal system. He wants to change all of those levels of FBI and everything. Who does that remind you of, Terry?
Well, you and I are both the offspring of the people who did the battles in World War II.
To prevent this from happening.
To prevent what we're seeing.
Yeah.
And so people are accusing us of being alarmist. There's no dictatorship. There's no fascism in America or Canada, to bring it home here. And I use that phrase, bring it home, because there is someone whose tactics are resembling that of the United States in Canada. So I'm mindful of the parallels there. But yes, it does remind me of the Third Reich.
You and I remember. We don't remember, we weren't there, but our parents were. And we remember the war that had to be fought. Germany didn't plan to just all of a sudden become a dictatorship with Adolf Hitler murdering millions of people. That wasn't in their plans, but it happened. And it happened the same way as it could happen in the United States now. That's why you and me are concerned. I know the younger generation, everything's fine, everything's enlightenment. We've gone through so many enlightenments, we're sick of it. We've gone through all of this junk 1,000 times. But you said it best. I mean, what about the wisdom of the elders? No, they're not valuing the wisdom of the elders. United States could fall under a dictatorship. And we're seeing the corruption of a party. I mean, I would be conservative. I've said it 1,000 times in the United States. But I'm seeing the corruption of a conservative party doing things that I find are appalling. But they'll do it. And the biggest thing is embrace a lie. They just embrace it like it's nothing. And you got a cross around your neck, and you go to church every Sunday, and you'll just embrace a lie to keep your position. Well, a white lie is a lie. A little lie is a lie. This great big lie that you're buying into is a huge lie. And I'm sorry, if they can buy into that, and if half the population of the United States can vote for a guy that could not say the truth, if it meant his life, then I'm sorry, it can fall. It can actually fall.
So again,
And the
ramifications.
ramifications of that are worldwide.
Yes, it's
NATO,
not just America.
not just America, Canada. I mean, I would think twice about going into the United States if all of a sudden these things start taking place, because then I could just be rounded up. I wrote a song called Prophets, Priests, and Poets, and no, I didn't mention any countries. Anybody could say, you're talking about us, man. So you know what I mean? Freedom goes out the window when all of a sudden you can't even be a race, or you can't be a people.
Let's hinge this stuff on the facts of how we got to this place. And the facts are, in the very first Sean Spicer podium speech after the inauguration, the biggest crowds ever, bigger than Obama's. And we show the two overhead views, and I did a couple of podcasts on my experience of the teacher strikes and the overhead views of crowd sizes and how that's estimated. And right from the get-go, there is no truth, not one bit of truth.
And he probably has a backer that has doctored up that film, and he's probably got a picture in his office of the multi unbelievably climbing on top of everything people at his, and that just wasn't so. And he would have been better just to say, look, at when you're going to be doing very important things like me, sure, you're going to have to prove it to the people. I can understand their concern at this particular time, but I will win them over because I'm going to do good things. That's how you approach that. You just don't go, no, I'm sorry, the biggest crowd ever.
Only I can win them over.
Only I can win. Yeah.
Be careful of that phrase. Only I can do this.
And only I can do it.
The latest one was, only I will get that Washington Post reporter released from Putin's control. Putin's got him in jail.
Oh, Putin will let him go. For sure he will. Sure he will.
And we're not saying Russia when Trump talks like this.
Yeah.
Come on. And don't forget all the... I think I sent you a link of all the
Well,
things.
remember, he put Putin above his own Secret Service.
Yes, he did.
He said, who are you going to believe?
We were both
I'll believe
talking
Putin.
about that Helsinki presentation when we thought, what the heck? And we're watching it with our own eyes.
Yeah.
And yet Trump made a speech not long after that where he told his audience, whatever you see, whatever you hear, that's not what's really happening. Well, yes, it is. It really was.
So what would happen if he got elected? I think almost immediately he'd pull support of Ukraine. And so Russia would go in and take Ukraine, kill
NATO.
absolutely everybody in the country, take the land and use it as their own. That's the one thing that would happen. So I think that would stop. I really do think he would probably say, what's the use of NATO? Why are we involved in this? Nobody else is doing their part. And they would stop being the policemen of the world because they won't care. Because as long as Putin ain't going to attack America, they're fine. And he gets rich, and he has the biggest yacht, has the biggest building, has the biggest everything, and the most youngest and beautifulest wife. Yeah, Melania, you'll probably go. And that's what I see coming.
Well, for people who want to know what's going to come, look up Project 2025.
Yeah.
You can find it out. It's there in black and white on the web. I would call it the dark web, except that this is the light web. This is supposed to be the stuff that everybody can access. It's Project 2025. It spells out exactly what the MAGA people want to do with America, their vision.
And the poor people, the poor mega people, don't realize they're cutting their own throat.
No, they don't.
Yeah, their life's gone too.
Well, it's a deal with the devil.
Yeah, it really is the deal with the devil. And I know they're calling him the Orange Jesus, and Trump stood there in front of a bunch of people, raised his hands to the air, and said, "I am the chosen one."
Yeah.
Sure, you are. So are you now? Are you going to call yourself the Christ? Wow, are we going to see you in the temple in Israel? I mean, I'm sorry. That's how much I feel about this guy.
Yeah.
And the thing that bothers me about me, even this trial coming to, I'll have pity on the guy. Should he be considered guilty?
Oh, I think your compassion is for a human being who will be incarcerated,
Yeah.
and our thoughts should go to all the people who are in states of, penal consequences. You've got a prison system, whether it's a hospice where you're a halfway house, you're coming to transition back into society. Our heart goes out to people who are struggling for all kinds of reasons. Whatever the reason is, they were convicted, they were given a time and a sentence. But I'm going to go back to say, is Trump worse than Nixon? I'm going to answer that with an example. In Nixon's case, his own administration, this is his own counsel, his own lawyer advising Nixon, admitting on tape, so we've got a record of this, that the whole war on drugs, if you recall that big emphasis, it's been part of the 60s, 70s, and continued into the 80s. Is it still on? I don't know. But the whole goal was to round up blacks, Hispanics, and put them in jail.
Well, there you go. And anybody who supported that are...
Well, everybody in the establishment did. I mean, war on drugs, got to be good.
But this is the problem, the bigger problem I have with the Trump administration now, and it is his administration. They're working for him.
Yeah.
He is the mob boss. They are working for him, and they're going to do whatever they can to make this guy boss forever. All of them. That's what sickens me.
Yes.
Is all of a sudden it will be no more truth. No more truth in America. None. It does not exist. Either you speak the language of the Trump or you're going to be shut down. Because him, with a whole country behind him, colonels and generals and everything else, I'm sorry, he's going to get Flynn, who is a wacko, and going to make him in charge, or someone like him. I'm sorry, it's a bad situation. This is Michael Flynn,
and don't forget, Michael Flynn's brother was the one who delayed the troops going to the National Guard, delayed that decision, hoping, I guess, that it would be overturned.
And the defenders of the state capitol died and suffered.
Now, there was a Bill Maher versus Megyn Kelly debate, and Megyn Kelly reminded Bill Maher, no one died that day. That's true now. So we got to say it. But they died after the fact.
Well, so what?
Died of injuries, died of suicide.
I go drinking and driving, run somebody over, and they die 3 days later still because of my drinking and driving.
I just want to point out, because where there is a crack,
but there's
that's not where the light goes in.
That's why I'm saying there's no more truth.
It's the lie. The lie goes in those cracks and pulls it into a big divide.
That's what I'm saying. There'll be no more truth.
You're right.
And anything you hear, he's going to shut down those who don't tell his version.
You're right, because the truth is only his version. Anybody else is not true.
They're lying to you.
Yeah.
And he said that right from the beginning. Fake news, fake news, fake news, fake news. And everybody bought into it.
Not everybody. The Jim and Terry Show, we've remained free of this. Yeah. But we never got to the notion of Gen Z and millennials and where you get your truth. Next episode. Jim and Terry Show signing off. Bye-bye for now.